Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, and Greg. Now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Watching, wherever you're listening, welcome to the Big Biz Show inside the Loft 100 studios here in sunny Southern California.
Okay, let's start the show because nobody says anything else other than that.
Why? And a big old howdy to you. Woo! Costa, Mary Vergado, our executive producer is Greg Tarav. Please, sir, I am speaking. And of course, Sully.
You realize that at some point we're going to get mail that's going to defend you.
Yeah. Thank you.
On a big old howdy to you.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
We have a few more bodies in the building.
Well, we have the recording artist Sullivan in the room. For us, we kick it off.
Indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, 1, 2, 3.
Wow. There you
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful.
Big show.
Big show.
And a big old howdy to you.
And a big old howdy to you.
And a howie to you.
That's in the business.
The reason is because they're going to be on a Cali country cruise next
I
year.
said the advertisement for that.
fun.
So you'll have to go on that one and say, as open up and a big old howdy to you.
Craziness on the Lido deck.
Perfect.
Lido deck.
That is a poll. Wow.
Wow.
Thank you.
1977 call.
Yeah, right.
And they want Captain Subing back. Here's Howie Font. Good to see you today. Have you got Howie and I were going down a rabbit hole on Perplexity. Perplexity is a AI Chat GPT app where if you think in terms of Chat GPT as a person and not a search engine, it changes your whole perspective. Like, hey, write me a contract to paint my house is what we were talking about.
Yep.
So I went down this rabbit hole with a buddy of mine about longevity. And there's a famous author named Dr. Peter Attia, who happens to be a friend of mine from Challenge Athletes Foundation. And he was just a dude back then, and now he's got 100 million followers.
Damn.
No, he wrote a book called Outlive. He's a thought leader. And there's a couple guys like that. And I started thinking, okay, well, I'm staring down the barrel of at least 40 years old
That's
at this
right.
point.
Yep.
Sure.
Celebrating the 25th anniversary of my 40th birthday
Congratulations.
in 6 weeks. What does that make me in months?
God, you're
860 months old.
yeah.
So my parents will say I've got 860 months.
A lot to put in the baby Bjorn.
But I looked at this this thing called peptide therapy. So you guys take supplements, right?
Yep.
Like you take like your magnesium and your and the thing.
Yeah.
There is a peptide market, and according to Grandview Research, the peptide market in the U.S. alone right now is $140 billion.
Oh, that's a lot.
Really?
What this is you go and you order vials of peptides that are criteria specific to if you want longevity or cellular growth or recovery or skin health or whatever, and you can put together what's called a stack, which they used to call in, what's that called, steroid stuff.
Yeah. Cycling.
It's almost like if you take vitamin C, vitamin K, vitamin D, and berberine, that's your supplement stack. This peptide thing is supposed to sort of augment what your body's already doing, but with technology now, you're going to be living longer. Okay, so I looked at this company called SimplePeptides.com. Fantastic company, by the way. They're not a sponsor, and in fact, they are. SimplePeptides.com is where you can order. So you go on and you figure out what your thing is. So I went on Perplexity AI, and I said, for a man of my age who exercises, has a clean diet, crazy schedule, what would be a proposed, and they listed out 5 of them, and it says one is for longevity, one is for cellular health, one is for recovery, one is for this and that, and I will tell you. So I started to do this, but a shout out to SimplePeptides.com because those guys, they're I think as a privately held company, you got to marry the daughter. I'm just going to tell you.
No pressure, Howie.
That or the perplexity daughter, I don't know.
I'm telling you, I mean, it's so anyway, so.
You always talk about the time. How much time did that save you? Just spinning out exactly what you wanted.
Thing, so just as we're going to a break, I sent it to my doctor. He says, that's exactly what I have you do.
Really?
Amazing.
Wow.
So maybe I'm saying simplepeptides.com so it could be a sponsor, Mike.
Maybe, could be. There is much more to come. There's much more to come in the Big Biz Show as we figure out our simple peptide stack. Big Biz Show continues live from the Loft 100 studios here in Southern California. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, that is the world-famous Sullivan Band. In total, best in the world, self-taught, no lessons. Oh, sure, I'll have some.
What do you got there?
Bebemos. You know what bebemos means?
We drink?
We drink.
We drink?
Yeah.
I like that.
Look at the top of the bottle.
Yes, we do.
It's a shot glass.
He said, yes, we do.
Oh my God, that is.
Isn't that fantastic?
Hold on.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. I like
Oh, apparently. Hang on.
This was tricky, right?
No, it's just wet with tequila. That's,
Beautiful. That's fantastic.
I like that.
Isn't that gorgeous?
No, that's it.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
The founder and owner
Yep.
of Bebemos Tequila, his name is Preston Caffrey. We'll be in the studio here in just a moment.
Love it.
Too. Boy, I like that.
Isn't that nice?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Probably should.
Your pheromones are now
Shouldn't try.
Yeah, don't drive home.
Every morning.
The reason Greg's laughing is because Greg, somebody said something about Tequila Town the other day, and Greg and I both thought it was we were talking about our houses.
Tequila Town.
Well, Greg has a very, Greg's a very Midwestern, sensibility to him.
Yes, he does.
And when he does something, he does it with purpose, and there's a reason behind it. Of
course.
And there's a reason behind tequila, right?
It's beautiful.
It's the healthiest.
Wonderful.
It's the bottled romance of Mexico, first
It's
of
a
all.
juice for crying out.
Hey, Howie, let's talk about, we were talking about forward earnings. We were talking about price earnings ratio the other day. Forward earnings represent, projected earnings, right? Yeah. And this is when you see all the lice type at the bottom of the screen, where they're with disclaimer. These are forward earning. These are forward-looking statements, not necessarily a guarantee.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. Talk about this. This is important for us as we're looking at the market today.
It's past performance is not indicative of future results, blah, blah, blah. But it is important because kind of picking up on our conversation from the last show when we were doing price to earnings, it's all about future growth. So if you have a black box like we were talking about that is spitting out quarters and then all of a sudden starts spitting out dollars, you're expecting it to spit out $100 bills in the future, you should be valuing things based on what their future earnings are going to be. So usually what you do...
Now, why do we care about that?
Because you want to value something based on what you think it's going to give you back in cash later
And this
on.
goes on the topic that when you look at a price of a stock, that's not what it costs, it's what people are willing to pay.
Right.
See the difference? People are willing to pay only this. When a stock starts dropping, like Dick Cheney's hunting partner, for example, like a tummy tuck on a plus size model, like acid before a Woodstock concert, like Mike's self-respect.
Here we go.
Right before he takes off his shirt.
Love it.
Is this water-based?
When a stock drops, it's because the confidence in what I'm willing to pay for that stock is dropping, not necessarily what the value is. So, for example, I'll give you an example. Starbucks coffee went down to, at one point in its life, probably a dozen years ago, down to $11 a share.
Yep.
Now, if you take the...
From what?
What's that?
From what?
Several $100. I mean,
Okay.
it's been a...
It was $700. It went down to 11.
Several hundred. I don't...
No, I think it actually. I think the thing that, like, for a day for the IPO, it was like.
Sure. Yeah,
so
makes sense.
Long story short, if you take the number of outstanding shares of a company, which you can find online, and multiply it by the share price, that's what's called the market cap. Market cap is a better way of saying valuation. Okay. Was Starbucks worth $500 million that day? Was that $4 billion company worth $500 million that day? Because that's what we were willing to pay for it. This is why this is important, right?
Yeah.
Because if we're willing to pay this now, what are we willing to pay later? Which would make us either buy on the rumor, sell on the news, and get involved in the stock.
And it's really important for how we're judging the actual economy, because we want to know what businesses are going to be doing in the future. So when we see something like Nvidia's earnings, this is really applicable. This happened last night. They actually were over 100% increase on their quarter to quarter, last year's quarter versus this year's
What was their
revenue.
estimate? What was their estimate?
The estimate was just slightly off. So everyone's like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Last year was great. This year was great. But in the future, lukewarm. And there's kind of a muted response.
Because of what they predicted.
Yeah.
So if we predict earnings of 100% more than this year, and you come in at 80%, your stock's going to drop. 80% more revenues than last year.
That's a big one.
But the point is that you said 100.
Yeah.
So the market was expecting, because markets bake into consideration well ahead of time.
Yep.
what's going to happen. Oftentimes you see like with the taco trade. Okay. The
taco trade.
Here comes Mike.
Oh,
Mike's eyes are
disrespectful.
watering. It's not about tacos.
Did Taco Bell go up finally?
No, but President Donald Trump is
Great
famous for
company,
doing
by the
this.
way.
Yes.
Out of the Rules for Radicals book, he will bloviate and he'll say something that he's going to do something.
Yep.
Okay, he'll cause chaos, and then he'll back off of that chaos. Just as the world is falling around him, and you have to keep asking yourself, would his legacy really be to cave the economy and to have a bad stock market? No. So he chickens out every time. Trump always chickens out. T-A-C-O, the taco trade. Talks about the taco trade.
Yeah, so I think this is Wall Street kind of catching up with what you've been saying for the last couple of weeks that we talked about tariffs.
And what I said, as long as we're talking about.
Sniff of superiority.
Thank you. Thank you, Trace.
Oh, that's stinks.
There it was.
Followed by. So it goes like this. It goes. Yeah. That is a sniff of superiority followed by the of indifference. Wow. I said 60 days ago, I said, you watch, he's going to come out smelling like a rose because this is all a Cold War. It's all bloviating to cause chaos. He's going to come to the rescue. If you see this happening like he did his last presidency, whether you like him or not, he's fixing the economy by doing so. He promised, he said 10% tariffs, which is horrible. But then he went to 100%. Where's he back now?
I'm going to pause it.
10%.
Yeah.
Which is still horrible.
So,
but it's not 100%. So it's
so
actually
the
kind of
taco
brilliant.
trade is basically that logic, your logic, put into an investment philosophy. So now everyone's saying, okay, as soon as we hear an announcement, tariffs, or
Short it.
Tim Apple is
whatever he says.
Tim Apple has to make iPhones in the U.S.
But whatever Trump says he's going to do, he's going to end up chickening out. So make
It'll
a decision.
automatically drop as soon as it drops. Buy. That's the taco trade. Because he'll walk it back. He'll moderate.
Imagine what you would have done when everyone was panicking a couple months ago as the market fell out. Oh, can you believe he promised this? And I said, "Guy, see, look no further than his personality, whether you like him or not. I don't care."
Yeah.
Was he really going to let the economy cave on his watch? Was he really going to let the stock market cave? And he can control that stuff. Just like Alan Greenspan and every other Fed Reserve chair, going back to Alan Greenspan, was able to control markets by controlling interest rates. Remember he used to drop interest rates, market would go up. And they want to control it. They raise interest rates, market would go down. Okay?
Yeah.
Or a company would announce firings. Okay? Mm-hmm. And the stock would go up because earnings went up, right? They cut their expenses. So this is all manipulated, but the interesting part of it was I just can't believe that we're fish every time as investors. And the market works so much on fear and greed that we saw this coming. And I wasn't trying to be, oh, look at me, watching 60 days, but it's like...
Well, it's the market clearly hating the uncertainty, right? So the first time, the Liberation Day announcement, maybe you don't know. Maybe he is going to stick with it. Is he really that
We knew he was not going to.
Right, well...
Well, the only way he would have stuck with
You did,
this,
but the market didn't.
If the market went through the roof and the economy did great, he would have stuck with it.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a pivot with this person if it makes him look bad eventually.
So how does he pivot from that recent, I think it was a district court that ruled that his tariffs are...
That's a big deal, yeah.
Wait, let's finish the sentence for the body.
I think unconstitutional, or he doesn't have the legal, it's Congress are the ones who control whether they raise tariffs or...
And he knew that all along, but it's like yelling fire in a crowded theater.
So there's a 1970...
They yelled it anyway, it doesn't matter if the fire was there or not.
Exactly.
He has the authority under a law from the 1977, I think, to do emergency tariffs for national security purposes.
Yeah, by the way, this goes back to 1816, by the way. No, I'm not kidding.
1977.
No, but before that, the law was based on an 1816 freaking precedent.
At Fort Ticonderoga.
No, honestly, no, really. It was where they make the pencils, by the way.
Oh my God, the show.
But the point, but I'm saying is, I believe his handlers are very criteria specific, prescriptive about saying, you can say this, just don't say that.
Yep.
And he does that, and all of a sudden, it's a lesson that the market runs on emotion.
For example, the fentanyl tariffs are clearly legal. You can definitely do that.
Yes,
I don't know if that's the solution to the fentanyl crisis, but you can definitely say, hey, fentanyl's coming over the border. This is the penalty. This
we're gonna
is part of
we're gonna
foreign
tariff it.
policy.
Right.
That's my job. But you can't say, for the U.S.'s national security, we have to have a 40% tariff on Madagascar, who we trade $10 million a year.
Right,
with.
exactly.
See the price of vanilla?
Yes.
Because of that? Damn it.
Well, and we were talking yesterday about Putin and Russia and why I'm not afraid of Russia or North Korea or anything, because they're all one sanction away of becoming a banana republic. One more economic sanction in Russia, and there are no Wonder Bread on the aisle. There is no canned peas on the aisle.
Plus, we're going to get the Golden Dome,
What's the Golden Dome?
the ballistic missile defense system.
I thought you were talking about Jeff Bezos' rock.
All right.
All right, Howard. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So these forward earnings estimates are helping institutional investors make sector. So should we as investors follow what they're saying? Does it matter?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to level up your kind of day trading or month-to-month trading, you should be looking at forward earnings and saying, am I paying too much for this stock? You don't want to buy anything at any price.
May I say that you look very New York in that?
Sure does.
In that getup.
Look at him.
Look
Yeah.
at him.
He does. He looks.
Hey, Howie,
I'm trying to loosen up. I've been told I'm uptight.
Can you lean forward and you're my camera shot? Keep it right here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show. That is the world famous Sullivan Band, complete Sullivan Band on your screen right there.
Treat.
Best in the business. Back here at the bar as the Big Biz Show rolls on live from the Loft 100 studios. It's Costa, Mary Godwin, our executive producers, Greg Todorov, and of course, Sully.
Well, it is a treat because they have the entire Sullivan Band, SULLVNmusic.com, and you can go to Spotify and hear all of those guys. Normally, you normally hear the Day Trader Trio.
Yes.
Which is James East, Trace,
Brian.
I got a mouth, I like to run it, Sojourn Hodgins.
Indeed.
Oh, yeah.
True indeed.
Right, and Brian Jordan, which are 30%. Yep, and now we have another, I'm going to say another 60% of the Sullivan Band here with the horn section, and well as Nacho Sobers and Mark Hattersley, and then as long as they need. Have you seen the Dan Band?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
I want to see Dan of the Dan Band front this band
Ooh.
for one thing.
That'd be amazing.
And do that the every now and then Bright Eyes song.
Yeah. Total eclipse of the
Oh,
heart.
yeah, Total Eclipse of the Heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen, by the way, the Will Ferrell Saturday Night Live outtakes? We think we misplaced your baby. Have you seen? Talk about next guest. One of my favorite guys. I can't believe he's back here. I'm so happy to have him back.
Mike DePasquale, the chairman CEO, Bio-Key International Inc. Of course, their ticker symbol is BKYI, and we welcome him back with open arms to the Big Biz Show. Michael, how are you, sir?
Boy, you've been busy, stranger. How are you?
Doing great. First of all, I want to thank you for having me back. I
Love to have
really
you back.
do appreciate it. It's always fun being with you guys. So thank you for having me be joined us today.
Catch us up on what's going on, and keep in mind we've got an expanded audience now. There's people that haven't heard about you before, so give us a little overview of what you guys do, and then catch us up from the last time we saw you a few months back.
Yeah, well, Bio-Key, fundamentally, we provide identity and access management solutions, mostly focused around multi-factor authentication. So, right now, today, you're using probably a password, maybe a PIN, even a card or a token to access all of your digital life, right? Whatever that might be, your business accounts or your social media, that kind of thing. And what we provide are phoneless, tokenless, and passwordless solutions that utilize biometrics and 16 other factors of authentication to make it, number one, much more secure, but also make it much easier for you to access all of your information. There's a lot going on at Bio-Key. Probably have seen, if not, I can describe the last couple of press releases that we've made.
Yeah.
We're making a really, really good headway in getting our biometric solutions and technology kind of moving mainstream right now. And we're doing very, very well in the regulated industries like banking and defense and healthcare. We've signed a number of international national banks over the last few months, and also a number of defense agencies that have to have really, really strong authentication, but more importantly, have to have the convenience because of the large populations that they serve. It has to be convenient and it has to be widely available. And our finger biometric technology solutions are really starting to take off in that space.
Mike, how with the way technology changes so quickly nowadays, then you throw in the variable of the bad guys, the bad women out there who are trying to circumvent things like that. How far down the road are you always thinking, or do you have to be for that matter?
Well, we're always, obviously, we have a significant development organization, and we're always looking to evolve our solutions with everything from advanced encryption technologies, because now you keep hearing about quantum computing and the impact that might have on all of the encryption that's traditionally used, that's used by all the solutions that you and I and our enterprise customers are using. So we've always got to stay a step ahead of that. So we're always looking beyond where we are today. Also, AI, artificial intelligence, is really it's an incredible opportunity in the security industry and the security space, but it also can be a very significant threat, right?
So Mike, I don't want to interrupt you. So is it, in your mind, is it friend or foe for a company like yours? Because I can see it can be a double-edged sword, right?
It absolutely can be. We definitely want to utilize and take advantage of all that AI can provide in the way, for example, we can support and serve our customers. The way we integrate it into our technology, meaning into the security side of our business, has to be very carefully thought out because of what I just described and what is kind of intuitive, right? So let's put it this way. Us, like everyone else, like Microsoft and all the largest technology companies, are really, we're thinking very deeply about it. And we're also very cautious about where and how we use it.
Well, because, of course, it's reliability, right? I mean, we could be half-baked on this in terms of reliability, especially for a company like yours, where reliability is every single thing. I mean, it's literally the tip of the spear for you.
True. Your credibility in the security industry stands against, again, your ability to defend against 99% of bad actors and bad events that may happen. And so AI can be used, it's kind of like the internet, right? 20 plus years ago when it was introduced, an incredible opportunity.
When it was America Online and CompuServe.
Right.
And I know you're old enough like I am to know that, Mike.
There you go. Exactly. And it was wonderful because it gave us access to, all kinds of things that we normally went to the library for, right? But on the other hand, it also gave bad actors and people who had, ulterior motives access to all kinds of information and power to communicate. So AI, same thing, and it'll evolve, and over time it will become part of our lives in a more significant way. But we shouldn't fear it. But we have to be very cautious about how we deploy it. Mike, before we let you out of here today, I'm glad to see that your schedule's eased up. We'd love to have you back as much as you can be. What are we looking forward to as a company here, in your mind, now that things have sort of evened out market-wise, now that things have evened out in terms of customer acquisition and some of your great press releases? Give me a 6-month outlook and give me an 18-month outlook in so much as you can disclose to us. Yeah, well, there's no question, and you can go back and look at what we publicly disclose and our investor presentation. It'll be up on our website. But we're absolutely all about scale right now. We have been consistently managing and reducing our expenses as we've spent millions and millions of dollars developing our technology. That's leveling off. And our revenues are going to scale. There's no question about that. Our gross margins are in the 80+% range. So getting to profitability and getting there very, very quickly is our goal and objective. And that's going to happen for us this year. So that's number one. And number two, again, just continuing to expand in the areas where we have been successful and expanding on a global basis, right? Because we are a global company.
We got to finally get you in studio at some point, Mike. You've been out of the Zoom and into the chair here as soon as you can.
Mike DePasquale, the chairman, CEO of Bio-Key International Incorporated. Of course, their ticker symbol BKYI. Making our world a safer place, as they say. All right,
And a big old howdy to you.
And a big old howdy to you in this safe place. Anyhow, keep it here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show. See you in a minute. In over 175 countries and all the shit that's seen on the American Forces Network, Big Biz Show rolls on. As always, to our brave men and women, United States Armed Forces, for what you do, what you've done for us. Costa, Maribor, Godwin. Our executive producers, Greg Todorov and Sully.
Wow. Got the whole band in here today.
Bebemos.
That's all you got? That's it?
Never get tired of that song.
In 175 countries, all the ships at sea, 125 million TV homes strong, thanks to BizTV, American Life Network, and now we just got contacted by the Binge Networks, which apparently is everywhere
What's
all the
up?
time. So, speaking of binging and purging, we had an opportunity on our local television show recently to feature a local business here in San Diego. Now, you might be watching us in Texas or listening to us in Bahrain or at Surf Rodeo or Surf Ranch in what's the one's called? Dubai. Whew. Have you seen that thing?
There's that one. Yeah.
Or even in Palm Springs, there's that one.
Palm Springs Surf.
But we're here in San Diego, and here in San Diego, we like to say, make it a Bebemos. I give you the proprietor of Bebemos Tequila, Preston Caffrey. Preston, thanks for coming back in. I said yesterday when you were on the other show, God, what a great gig you have. This, like, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a coder for Qualcomm. What do you do? Well, I make roofs. I roofed houses in Arizona in the summer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
He makes tequila.
Yeah.
Talk about this journey that you just had.
I mean, it's the best thing that I could ever ask for.
Were you
to be
in
honest.
the booze business before? Or?
No, not. I mean, professionally drinking it. Yes. It's just,
Fair.
you know.
That's a fair response.
No. I've been in finance my whole life, and it wasn't until.
Which drove you to?
Well, yes, exactly.
That makes sense, right?
It's a major part of it.
So you're in the financing business, and all of a sudden you got here. Now I know the story, but tell the story again how this all happened.
Yeah, I mean, real quick. My wife started a import business called We Drink Bubbles, and then she was delivering small batch champagnes to people's doorsteps. And when COVID hit, it went through the roof, as you would imagine. And at that same time, I was drinking a lot of tequila with my best buddy John Maddox.
Let's face it. Bring his friends in. It's an intervention. You were drinking that tequila a lot before then. But so
Yes, yeah. But again, the consumption
So wait a
rose.
minute, I know where this is going. Your wife has a great business idea, and you said, I know.
That is exactly what happened. Yeah. So I mean, we just totally unapologetically stole her business plan.
And even the name.
Even the name, yeah. So we drink tequila. That's our import distribution business. And then from that, building relationships down in Jalisco.
You see this here?
We met this family that we fell in love with and have developed a relationship over the last 4 years. And over the last 2 years, we've been working on this brand together. So it's not like a private label, slap your name on it and say it's yours. Like we built this together, and
So this business,
it's amazing.
so you have to make the product, but it's not like you're making tennis shoes.
No.
You have to be, you're very prescriptive about it. You can't call it even tequila unless it's from Jalisco,
Unless it's
Mexico,
there.
right?
Yeah, and the process for us, and again, not throwing anyone else under the bus, but when you are harvesting agaves,
And that's the cactus, that's the plant that makes tequila.
that makes tequila, yeah. So when you harvest those, most of the tequilas we drink in the United States are harvested around 3 years old. So they're babies, they're young.
Which is
don't have a lot of
basically
fruit.
like on a vineyard, you got to wait 3 years to have your first batch of wine. So it's kind of at the
Right.
youngest you can do it.
Yeah, and this would be like on your vineyard if you're harvesting in like June instead of waiting
October.
until October. Yeah. So part of that is that when you harvest early, you don't have a great product, and so in order to make it palatable, you add sugar, you put a lot of additives in there, vanilla and whatnot. But when you harvest mature piñas, agaves, at 7-8 years, they're beautiful. They're
Now, why
ripe,
do
they're
more?
sugary.
It's because you got to wait longer, cost more.
Exactly.
So you're kind of in a very narrow sort of market. You're going to do the best. I have heard since the sort of rise of tequila popularity in the last, let's say, since COVID, that there are companies that will white label this. I'm drinking one guy's tequila and it's the same as the other guy's tequila. Is that true? Does that happen out there?
Absolutely, yeah.
Like there's like Tequila R Us down in Jalisco, and you want to put Greg and Sully's tequila.
Oh yeah.
It's the same as Mike's tequila, but a different label sometimes.
It would, and it would take you 10 minutes to set that company up. Yeah, I mean it's as simple as there are distilleries there that are making hundreds of brands just at their distillery with the same process, and then you just come in and you say, I want it to taste a little oaky, or I want vanilla, or I want chocolate, and this, and they
add the,
and then you're ready.
Like McDonald's.
Yes.
French fries. I know you do.
Yes.
Now we're speaking, Mike.
Something I'm an expert on.
You know, they have made French fries taste more potatoy because of that stuff.
Well, they also used to fry them in beef tallow as opposed to vegetable oil.
Anybody, raise your hands who would know that other than.
He knows the date that it changed too. Probably.
Oh yeah, September 19th, 19th.
And no one's ever even used the word. No one's ever used the word beef tallow in these four walls in the history. Can I ask you this?
Respect.
At the risk of doing negative publicity for someone, like politicians do.
Yep.
They don't really sell their worth. They talk about how bad the other guy is. You're selling your worth. I want to know. See, I would want to know. I believe your worth. Somebody needs to out these other guys. Somebody needs, why don't we? I heard this from a guy who owns a Mexican restaurant that I know, who happens to be named Bubba.
Oh, yeah.
We happen to have our Christmas party there.
Yeah.
I spent several times. But he's the one who told me that they do this. And when I talked to you yesterday, I realized this is not that. Why? And I don't want to get off the subject of your, but doesn't that drive you crazy as a brand, knowing that you do have all the things that they are espousing to have, but they don't? But nobody's busting these guys.
No, I mean, they're the largest potentially class action lawsuit we were just talking about.
Oh, it's happening.
Just hit. Yeah, so Don Julio, Casamigos, really a lot of Diageo's portfolio.
All the same thing?
So it's actually, this is a different lawsuit, but they've been claiming that they have 100% pure agave in their bottle.
Can't do that.
They've got 20, 30, maybe 40% sugar water. So essentially they're taking sugar cane, distilling it.
Do they call it a margarita when you have tequila, sugar water?
Yeah, they should just pre-batch it, and that's really what they're doing. Yeah.
All right, back to you guys. So what is this? So tell me I watched a special, and I've talked about this with you guys before, called Neat. It's about the history of bourbon, which is the only American spirit. And it talks about if you're a I forget what, it's not a vintner, I forget what they call it. That person who starts in the age at 20s, their first batch of bourbon, will never see the last barrel of their third batch because it takes so long.
Wow.
So talk about the generational type stuff with you guys.
Yeah. So similar, but not aged nearly as long, and specifically,
which is good news.
What we're doing, yeah. So this is a Joven. So that means that young or youthful in Spanish, but what we're doing is this is a Blanco, a Reposado, and an Añejo.
Explain because I guarantee there's people in South Dakota watching this have no idea. Because Greg and I are naming our kids middle names: Reposado, Blanco,
Reposado.
Yep.
But what do those things mean for the rest of
Yeah, so a Blanco is typically unaged. You can go up to 60 days, but typically unaged Blanco, and then
it's
Reposado,
white lightning.
It's delicious.
It's everywhere.
If it's made well, it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. And then 2 months to a year is a Reposado. A year to 3 years is an Añejo.
Now, why is one clear, one's dark? Is it because the casks?
Strictly the barrel. Okay. Yep. Yeah, barrel and then
because it's going
food
through
coloring.
Because it gets hot, it gets cold, it gets hot, it gets wet, it goes through the wood, and it turns color.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, that's why bourbon is the color it is. If you right from the still.
Except for bourbon, for the very reasons you're talking about, is what's called on many bottles. It's called bottled and bonded, because back in Prohibition times, bourbon was such a hit, but it took 3 years to age, that they were taking chewing tobacco and spitting into the Everclear, because all bourbon starts with corn whiskey. Mm-hmm. It's all Everclear, it's all moonshine, until it ages. And that's where they got the word rot gut.
Yeah.
And that's where they got their go blind drinking, because they were spitting chewing tobacco in to make it look brown. So the difference. So
We do the same thing. Yeah.
Not that I know a lot about. Not that I know a lot about bourbon.
Wow.
What's next? So you made is distribution next? What do you?
Yeah. So we officially we had a soft launch Cinco de Mayo to just kind of introduce ourselves to San Diego. And then on June 2nd is when kind of the official push hits. So we've got a lot of marketing going out, a lot of...
Are you planning on going national with this? Is this going to be West Coast only?
It's going to be San Diego only to start. Now, we can distribute outside of the state.
I think we can cover the San Diego batch, don't you think?
Yeah, I was say, let's...
You came to the right place.
Yeah. You know what's wild about San Diego is we are per capita the booziest city in the country.
God bless America.
I believe it.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, we make up for a lot of the slackers. So, great place to start.
You're welcome, America.
Yeah.
Will you come back? I want to follow the story. Oh, you got to come back and
Oh, yeah,
so
absolutely.
Good. His name is Preston Caffrey. Do you know what the reason is that many of us, it's because of that song I wrote called Bad Attitude Girl?
Sure.
That's what started me on the bourbon tequila. And I wasn't talking about anybody I was dating. I was talking about my daughter, who's 6 years old. Big Biz Show. BigBizShow.com. Give it a
This show rolls on live from the Loft 100 studio. We are in sunny Southern California. That is the world-famous Sullivan Band. Back here at the bar, it's Costa.
The best.
It is Mary Bert Godwin. It is Greg Todorov, our executive producer. And in the orange hunting hat, it is Sully.
Well, one of our favorite things to do here on the program, of course, is to warn you about the danger of skin cancer.
That's right.
Of course, I'm almost ready to take off.
Oh.
Does it still hurt?
Huh?
Is it still like nagging?
I still got.
You didn't have to shave your head.
No, I didn't.
Oh, good.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah. Well, but they did core samples that went down to my spine.
Oh, God.
Nick Grant is the CEO and president of inTest Corporation, and we had him on the air. It was a great interview, and we lost track of him. And now we got him back because we're very important, and we get CEOs of public companies.
Yep.
So I give you via Zoom Nick Grant, the president and CEO of inTest Corporation, to talk about what they're up to. Their ticker symbol is INTT, Innovative Test and Process Technology Solutions, as their website says. Nick, great to see you again, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, Sully. Thanks for having me back on.
It's good to see you. I want you to review, since we've got many more viewers and a lot more of a footprint here in terms of network and visibility, what you guys do, what you're all about, and what you've been up to lately.
Yeah, no, as you commented, there we're an innovative test and process technologies company. We target 6 key markets. Semiconductor is our largest space, and then followed by automotive, EV, the aerospace defense, general industrial markets, life sciences, and safety and security.
When you talk about the word inTest, it would indicate that there's a test involved somewhere.
Absolutely.
Talk about those specifically. Talk about your like a key client and what your deliverables are for those clients and how that sales cycle works and so on and so forth.
Sure. So we serve a lot of the key markets there, and our customers are large multinational companies, and our test solutions in the semi space range from testing the chips on wafers to thermal cycling the wafer for evaluating the chips over temperature ranges to thermal solutions used in the creation of the wafer itself in the very front end of semi. And then more of our processing solutions. And aerospace and defense testing is electronics that go into smart artillery and defense systems around the globe, as well as a number of ballistic applications testing for various properties.
Nick Grant, President, CEO, inTest Corporation, ticker symbol INTT. So, Nick, for somebody like me who didn't wear a helmet when I played football, dumb it down. Are you like the last stop before the stuff ends up like on the shelves at Radio Shack?
Normally, we're not in the consumer space. It's more going into being into the car. So,
sure.
Testing displays, infotainment systems, going into cars. As well as electronics that get used in a wide variety of applications in the defense industrial markets out there. But yeah, we are testing that last test before it gets out into its final application.
Nick, I got a question. How do you give the bad news to your client while trying to keep your client? I mean, that's got, you're in a precarious position here because what they're hiring you for is for validation, but not necessarily confirmation bias. In other words, we want it to be good. Tell us it's good. Yeah. And you guys have a responsibility at a number of ends, not only your shareholders, but to the world, to tell these guys the truth that nobody wants to admit they got an ugly kid, but hey, buddy, you got an ugly kid, you got to fix this. So maybe not a great analogy, but can you? How do you? I mean, that's an interesting piece of this thing. That's got to be a strategy for you folks in terms of deliverables and what your opinions have to be on what you're testing there, and how you have to be so subjective versus objective.
No, you're spot on, Sully. And what we really pride ourselves in is the accuracy of the testing. So when we actually do find a bad product, it truly is a product that doesn't meet specifications. Where some other competitive systems might be false positives, being kicked out for something where when they retest it actually is it passes. So we're really proud of our first pass yields on truly identifying the bad actors.
Nick, because you are someone in the defense space, and you just mentioned bad actors, so if Kim Jong-un calls you and said, Nick, we got some chips we want you to test for us for this
There's
ballistic...
not enough money in the world to take that deal. I can already tell the guy's credible.
Does the government...
not at all.
Okay, so does the government dictate, though, hey, this is who we're going to allow you to do business, or is that strictly you and your team?
No, we have strict requirements when it comes to the projects that we work on for the government, as well as tier ones supplying the prime contractors there and that. So the information is protected, only certain eyes only, equipment is protected, shielded in the facility, so others can't walk by and see it, and that. So yeah, it's a very secretive type testing.
Okay, I'm just checking. Making sure.
Hey, Nick.
And North Korea has not been anywhere near us.
Excellent.
Hey, Nick, I have a question about this ever-growing world of technology, AI. Everything's growing so rapidly. How do you guys, what's your growth strategy? How do you keep up with it?
Yeah, technology, we embrace it. Technology is absolutely the future, and incorporating, what we can into our products to help make the interfaces easier for customers, help drive better efficiencies. And one thing we pride ourselves on is driving innovation, staying ahead of the competition, and embracing, whatever the newest technologies are that make sense for our applications.
Hey, Nick, I saw you have 41% gross margin. Obviously, times have been tough on everyone over the last several years, and things are turning around. But you guys seem to have created value and maintained value because of an acquisition strategy prior. Are you still continuing that process in terms of seeking acquisition candidates? And what does the rest of the year look like? What's the next 5 years look like? In so much that you can talk to us. I know you're a CEO of a public company, you can't tell us everything. But
but absolutely right. M&A has been an important part of our growth strategy. And since I joined back in 2020, it really is become part of our DNA. I've really been driving M&A, identifying the right targeted companies that would help take our existing businesses to the next level, open up some new markets for us. And the team has really embraced it there. We were successful in getting 3 deals done. And in our next 5-year plans, which we launched in March at our Investor Day in New York, we talked about M&A still being a key part of our strategy that will.
I got to get you back here. We got to get you in studio. I want to talk to you. I can't believe we took so long. Greg, what's wrong with you?
Come on, Greg.
Took it now.
He is Nick Grant, the president and CEO of inTest Corporation, friend of America, by the way. Ticker symbol is INTT. And that is going to do it for this edition of The Big Biz Show. Thanks to the Sullivan Band. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.